want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here, am I on? Can somebody respond?
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Top 10 Tuesday in the Doghouse. Hey, today's Top 10 list, I always say it doesn't have to have 10 things on it. It doesn't have to happen on a Tuesday. But today's Top 10 list is made up of two separate Top 5s. I don't think I've ever done this before. I've been doing the Tuesday Top 10 for a long time. And I don't remember ever having the... Look, my voice is changing. I must be going through the puberty. I don't ever remember... doing two top 5s to make a top 10. Two completely separate top 5s. Well, that's what I did today. And it's tied to today's guest list. More on that in a moment. If you know where you want to go with the show, you can call in at 256-576-4977. It's 256-576-4977. Hey, Brandon. Is your stream working now? I hope Brandon's stream is working. Brandon had a weak stream yesterday. That's what happens when you get older. You get like a weak stream. Might not have been his fault. Anyway, hopefully he's listening on the stream. Your text window. Great way to communicate with the show. 732-9TA show. 732-982-7469. My personal Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's Twitter feed is at 97.7 ESPN. I do have a Twitter poll up today. If Dabo Swinney and Kirby Smart both coach until they were 70, who would finish with the most national championships? This question comes from the Feinbaum Show yesterday because Paul had a listener that called in and then said that if Kirby Smart coaches until he's 70, he'll finish with more national championships than Nick Saban. So Paul tweeted it, and I was like, well, wait a minute. What if Dabo coaches until he's 70? So I turned it into a poll question today. And right now in the early going, 52.6% say Dabo Swinney would win more national championships. 47.4% are saying Kirby Smart would win more national championships. So go to either 97.7 ESPN Twitter page or at Thom Abraham Show Twitter feed, and you can vote on that question. I'd love to hear from you on that question as well. By the way, remember that poll question that we ran on Friday asking which pro spring football league schedule you would prefer? The XFL's February through April schedule or the USFL's April through July schedule? Well, that thing got 1,100 votes. And the USFL schedule got 50.5%, actually 50.4%, and the XFL's got 49.6%. I mean, that's just nuts. It was almost exactly 50-50 on which one you want. You can watch the show on Twitch at 97.7 ESPN. Our YouTube channel is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. You can watch live there. Like and subscribe and get notifications at the YouTube. Follow us on the Twitch. We also have a very active Facebook page at 97.7 ESPN with all kinds of info and show clips there. Go to 977ESPN.com and get links to all of that stuff. And while you're at it, get the app. You can find a link to Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4, all our alternate streaming channels for more great programming there. It's a very busy week this week, especially later on. Now, we got the Braves in L.A. against the Dodgers tonight. And that ex-Brave guy.
A one from Enoa. Lifted to deep left center field, sprinting back, and a hurry is Duvall. That is gone.
Freaking kidding me? Really? You got to be freaking kidding me. Got your Freddie right here.
And Freddie with a swing that we've seen 1,000 times. Sends one over the wall in left center field. 1-0 LA.
Kidding me. Are you kidding me? Of course he hit the second pitch he sees from Ynoa for a home run. For his first home run as a Dodger. You see, this is why sports is the ultimate reality TV. You couldn't make that up. You couldn't make it up. If you made it up, people would say, oh, that's crap.
A one from Ynoa. Lifted to deep left center field, sprinting back, and a hurry is Duvall. That is gone.
You could not make that up. And it's because of you Braves fans that are all in this Freddie love affair. You're sending him good vibes. Stop it. He is the enemy. You can love on him after he retires. You can retire his number if you so see fit. I wouldn't. But you could retire his number if you want. You could have Freddie Day. You could do all that crap. But right now he's the enemy. He could still be a Brave. They offered him a great contract. In Georgia money, it was as good as the contract he got in California money. The dude wanted to go to California where they could cheer for him. Freddie, 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 Freddie. From California people, they're barely even at the game by then in the first inning. Freddie, Freddie. They're probably pumping the sound in. It probably wasn't even the crowd. Nobody's at the game in the first inning in L.A. Anyway, later this week we'll add in Alabama and Georgia to the mix. Georgia number 14 in the country. Alabama fell out of the poll. They had just gotten into the poll at 24, and they fell out of the top 25 by beating the number one team in the country for their first SEC loss on Friday night. Yeah, I get they lost the other two games. It was on the road. They took 1 out of 3. They're the first SEC team to beat Tennessee. And then later on the weekend, the havoc in the SPHL semis, Saturday and Sunday if necessary. So get the app. So speaking of Alabama baseball, coming up in a few minutes, baseball coach Brad Bohannon will join us. How did they fall out of the top 25? They handed Tennessee their first SEC loss of the season on Friday night. In fact, 3 SEC teams, including Ole Miss and Florida, along with Alabama, dropped from the top 25. Vandy's not even in the top 25. So those are 4 teams that could be in there, leaving 5 SEC teams ranked. Number 1, UT. Number 4, Arkansas. Number 14, Georgia. Number 19, Auburn. Number 22, LSU.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the Tuesday Top 10.
Wait, we're short 5 things. There was only 5 things there. We're short 5 things. All right, here are 5 more things. Georgia's 68,000 for their spring game is number 1 in the country so far this year in spring game attendance. Number 2 is Nebraska at just over 54,000. Then Ohio State at 50,000. Number 4 is Clemson at 35,000. And number 5 was Alabama's 31,000.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the Tuesday Top 10.
Spring numbers are down everywhere. So coming up at the top of the 11, Anthony Dasher, managing editor of UGAsports.com, will join us to wrap up spring ball for the Dogs, who had a highly entertaining and high-scoring spring game where the 2021 crew got their championship rings. Last night, the Tampa Bay Bandits mauled the Pittsburgh Maulers 17-3. Friday and Saturday, those of you listening to this show on Friday and those of you listening to the National USFL Newsroom show or watching it, I guess, on Saturday, will note this. And I have Grizz as my witness. I was adamant about taking the under. If you felt like you had to bet on the first weekend of the USFL, what did I say over and over and over and over again? Take the under. Just take the under in all of them. 3 out of the 4 games hit the under, 75%. That's not bad. 3 out of the 4 favorites also won and covered the spread. So 3 out of 4 favorites won and covered the spread, with only Jeff Fisher's Michigan Panthers being, quote, upset. They were actually a 3-point favorite in their game, and they got blasted. Biggest takeaway here is that they got to get these teams to their respective cities ASAP. I know it's not going to happen this year, but I mean, next year, this can't be like this. Playing in front of an empty stadium is reminiscent of pandemic ball. It was like watching 2020 football. It makes for a tough watch. It looks like the TSL did, the Spring League. And that's not what this is supposed to be. This is not supposed to be the Spring League. If it's a Spring League, but it's supposed to be a league that actually has like fans, and it's fine when the Stallions are playing. It's great when, tremendous atmosphere for the Stallions game. No one is going to any of these other games. No one. And frankly, the league doesn't care. The ball is fine. The league doesn't care. And it's hilarious seeing the way the various sports, websites are handling this. If you go to ESPN.com, you don't even know that it exists. You go to ESPN.com, there was no results of anything. You don't even know it exists. You go to the bar where they have all the sports, NASCAR, golf, NFL, NHL, NCAA football, Major League Baseball, NBA, boxing, college sports, Little League World Series, NCAA men, racing, rugby, WWE, golf, CFL, cricket. Are you kidding me? Cricket. MMA, women's basketball, recruiting basketball, tennis, X Games, soccer, chalk, F1, G League, NBA G League they got a tab for, Olympic sports, football recruiting, WNBA. That's the list of sports that exist in America. They don't even acknowledge that there is such a thing. Go to foxsports.com, and 3 of the top 5 stories are about the XFL. Go to cbssports.com, and they're kind of in the middle. cbssports.com has they at least have some stories about it. Now the only story about the USFL on ESPN.com is the story about the XFL and their football executives trying to tell agents that the XFL will offer higher salaries and better benefits than the USFL, and keeping players from going into the USFL. Because the USFL, it's a 2-year deal to keep them out of the XFL. That's the only story. They got stories about the XFL coaches, hirings. They don't even have teams. But the thought is ESPN, ABC will have the XFL, so they act like the USFL does not exist. Go to foxsports.com, and there's all these stories about it. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's like fake news. It's nuts. Over there in the little glass booth, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and manning the phones and keeping us on the air. Probably still trying to get over Freddie's home run. It's DJ Grizzly.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? protected.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together on a spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That Tom? Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Of course he hit the home run. Are you freaking kidding me, Grizz?
It had to happen like that.
It had to happen like that.
It's like when you come off an injury, first time back or something, you get like a good hit or a home run but yeah, of course, the first game, Charlie got to see Dansby before the game, so all Braves fans, their hearts got even more warmed over that because they're missing Charlie Freeman more than they are probably Freddie Freeman.
Ugh.
But
he's the enemy.
Yeah, he's the enemy. I mean, who cares? What I'm more worried about is the bats right now. I get it, it's early, but man, nobody's hitting worth a flip, and it's just pitiful to watch when you
I wanted Matt Olson to hit a home run to win the game last night. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, but Matt Olson's also batting over 400. So I mean, he's the only one that's really he's only the one really hitting the ball. So
both guys are doing well. It looks like a win-win right now.
Oh yeah, even
guys.
trades.
And I think Olson will be better longer than Freddie will be better. I do believe that. I think when you look at in 5 years, when you look at Freddie for 5 years at the Dodgers and Matt Olson for 5 years with the Braves, Freddie will have or Matt Olson will have better numbers than Freddie. That's what I think over that 5-year period. I think that will happen.
But I agree with you on that too, and I think Freddie's a lot taller. He's a lot bigger. He's a bigger guy. I think Matt Olson's built a little bit better than Freddie is, and obviously being younger too is a perk. So
puts the ball in play more. He doesn't strike out as much. He he walks more than Freddie does, and but you if you wrote the story for like an afternoon, after school special, and you had Freddie Freeman hitting a home run on a second pitch he saw against the Braves in his first game against the Braves, and it was his first home run, people would say, get that story the hell out of here. That's not real. Can't tell that story. Get out of here with that story.
Yeah,
tonight.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, tonight, the Atlanta Hawks go for the split in Miami on TNT.
I'm excited.
That to be interesting. I'm excited for Boston and Brooklyn. Are they ever going to play again?
Yes, that's tomorrow. Oh. Tomorrow at the same time.
Didn't they play Sunday? It was Sunday, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Sunday.
And tomorrow's Wednesday?
Yeah.
How many days do we need in between the basketball game?
Well, what I hate is like tonight and last night is you'll have a game on TNT and then you'll have a game on NBA TV.
That's all right.
I'd like to drag it out a little bit, like maybe an extra day, and then you have maybe another
extra day.
maybe like two matchups a day. But I get it. But it does take forever in the first round.
It's good to have games staggered times so that you can jump into like. It's halftime in one. You jump into the other.
That's
Maybe
true.
you don't like this game. I don't want to be forced to watch one game.
I want to watch the Hawks tonight, and that's it. No, but yeah, no. I'm looking.
The Bruins play the Blues.
Well, I'll probably watch that, and then I'll watch the Hawks game, and then as soon as the Hawks game is over, I'll turn it over to the Braves. But no, I just hope that Duncan Robinson doesn't score 27 points in 23 minutes because that was a huge factor in that game. Nobody could hit a shot at all in this last series with the Hawks. And I just felt like if Trae Young was able to shoot, because he was like 1 for 12 from the field, if he was able to shoot better from the field, I would have been a lot happier for that. Or, I'm sorry, 1 for 12 from 3, and if he shot better from the field, I would have been a lot happier for that. So,
let's get a break. When we come back, Brad Bohannon will join us. We'll talk some Alabama baseball off of that very emotional series against Tennessee, and now they have UAB tonight. In Tuscaloosa with a little midweek tilt before they get ready to play Georgia this weekend, number 14. Georgia. Anytime Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, any of these teams get together, I mean, it's something, right? So we'll talk to him about that and his team's surge. I mean, let's be honest, they're still surging. I mean, after they beat Tennessee, they won 10 out of 11, I think, when they beat Tennessee before they dropped the 2 games on Saturday and Sunday. Brad Bohannon is next on the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
The PGA Tour in New Orleans this week for the Zurich Classic. The team of Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa, the co-favorites, along with Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele, both teams at plus 800. Mark Leishman and Cameron Smith at plus 900. Braves and Dodgers game 2 tonight. Atlanta plus 135 money line. LA minus 165. The over-under at 8. Max Fried getting the start for the Braves against Walker Buehler. NBA, the East first round continues with the Hawks at the Heat tonight. Atlanta a 7-point underdog. The over-under 219. In the West, the Timberwolves and Grizzlies with Memphis a 7-point favorite in game 2. The over-under at 241. And the Pelicans a 9.5-point road underdog in game 2 against the Suns. 221.5 the set total.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
The internet is everything. Actually, everything. And with WOW Internet, everything is good. Good streaming, good shopping, good gaming. And with an extra reliable connection, it's all good all the time. Get super fast gig speed internet from WOW for only $49.99 a month. Plus get $300 on us when you sign up at Wowway.com. Wow, that's good internet. Wow. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Subject to change. Terms apply.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock from Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse, new indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
The Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Tuesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Going to be just a touch on the chilly end of the spectrum, especially when you consider the fact that we are getting into the later part of April. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 60s, but under a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures drop into the low 40s as we head into the overnight. A little more cloud cover for your Wednesday, but temperatures are going to begin to climb. Highs hanging out in the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Segment of Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental, with 2 locations to serve you better now. Their newest location is off the North Parkway, north of Winchester Road. The contractors will love that. They've got the larger excavators, dozers, that kind of stuff up there. And then, of course, at the South Parkway, you have more skid steers, excavators, lifts than anyone in the Tennessee Valley. They will help you get the job done like a pro. Valley Equipment Rental. Ross Robertson, his crew, they are local. That's what we love about them. They're local dudes, and they do a tremendous job. And just give them a holler. And when you give them a holler, by the way, tell them the big dog said, hey. They like that. They like, hearing about that. All right, joining us now. Look, I have said we saw Auburn play baseball earlier this year at Toyota Field. And I had recommended to those guys when they built that new stadium up there in Madison that how cool would it be to have a little border battle midweek, Alabama-Tennessee game there. I'm not talking about an SEC game. I'm talking about just a midweek game between Alabama and Tennessee. You know what I mean? Kind of like that Capital Classic thing they do down in Montgomery. It would be great. You'd have all these fans that pack the house out. And then, of course, we saw this past weekend the intensity. It was like an Alabama-Tennessee football weekend. I mean, it was crazy what went on up there. And joining us now, the head coach for Alabama baseball, guy that's really got this team rolling right now, is Brad Bohannon, and he joins us now. Skip, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. And just to add to your message there, we're working really hard to get some games scheduled up y'all's way in the future. So really hoping and expecting to see Alabama baseball in the area next spring.
Yeah, that would be great to have you guys up here. And I love it being a battle border. You know what I mean? I want it to be a midweek Tennessee game. But, of course, when I started promoting that idea like 3 or 4 years ago, Tennessee wasn't as good as they are now. You know what I mean? I mean, they've got that program going good. You guys came in there smoking hot, beat them on Friday night. And what an atmosphere. I know you want to win the series, obviously, but what an incredible atmosphere with everything that was going on. It had the intensity of Alabama and Tennessee football.
Absolutely. And look, I love our team and really pleased with the progress we're making, the direction we're going. I'm not sure I want to play Tennessee any more than I have to. I say that as a compliment to their club. They're number one in the nation for a reason. You don't stumble your way into, whatever the record is. You can't smoke and mirror that. That's not luck. Great team. They play with a lot of energy. The fans are very passionate about that team. And, it was really a fun weekend. That's one of the weekends of, as a coach or a player, why you want to be in this conference. You want to play against the best teams. You want to play in the rowdy atmospheres. And in our conference, everybody's got great facilities and great fans, and Tennessee's right in the middle of all that. So, it was big for us to go on the road and get a win up there. We're the only team that has beat Tennessee in league play through 5 weeks. So, proud of our guys for doing that, and, hope that we can carry that momentum the way we've played the last 3 weeks into the ballpark tonight against UAB. And
I know the rankings don't really matter that much because, we got a tournament, and we got an SEC tournament. We got a big tournament. I get all of that. But I'm trying to figure out how in the hell you drop out of the top 25 after getting into the top 25, how you drop out of the top 25 by beating Tennessee on Friday night, by going up there and beating the number one team in the country that nobody in the SEC had beaten, ending their unbeaten streak in the SEC. Yeah, you dropped the game Saturday and Sunday. But how do you drop out of the top 25 when you beat the number one team in the country? I didn't quite understand that 100%.
Yeah, I think the nice thing for me being in the conference for so long, this is my 19th year as an assistant coach or head coach in the SEC, and you truly know that if you perform in this league over time, that all of those things will take care of themselves. And the ranking that matters the most is the one at the end of the year. I mean, I'm sure there's a part of me that absolutely agrees with everything that you said, but if we take care of business the next few weeks going forward, then we're going to be ranked where we want to be going into the postseason. And those people that do those rankings and whatnot, it's really hard when you're trying to compare teams that haven't played or don't even have common opponents. I can see how that would be difficult, but hopefully we're ranked at the end of the year. That's what matters the most.
You had after Friday night, I think you had won something like 10 out of 11, which is really hard to do in baseball. Baseball, you're doing great if you win a series. You go out, you win a series, you're 2-1 each weekend, and that's a tremendous record. You guys had won 10 out of 11. Early in the year, the tough trip to Texas, some midweek losses that are, you're playing a lot of different guys and so on. We kind of get that. What changed, though, that got you guys rolling, the way you got rolling and the way you are rolling, even off the 2 losses, the way you guys have been rolling in the last 3 weeks or so?
Tom, I think there's 2 parts to it. The first one is, we had some injuries, just like everybody does, but there was an extended period of time where Bryce Eblin and William Hammett both were out of the lineup. In addition to that, we had a lot of inexperience on the mound. We have moved some people around slightly to get them in different roles. And, also we just started playing better. We just didn't play well. I think there was a point in time, and I don't know if we're still there, but there was a point in time we had been in more one-run games than any team in the country. And just having a couple of guys out or having a player or 2 in a different role can be the difference between winning by 1 run and losing by 1 run. So really proud of our kids because, we certainly had our share of adversity and frustration and whatnot the first month of the season. And the kids just kept playing and they stayed together and stayed positive, and really happy for them that we've had some success the last 3 weeks.
You mentioned UAB tonight. They clipped you 5-4 at Region Field back in March. You got home and home with them and home with Sanford. Is that usual? I mean, I don't seem to remember that. I mean, it's convenient as all hell. I mean, certainly to have those schools there. But do you normally play those guys, twice a year, or is it usually just once?
Yeah, we typically do a home and home with UAB and Sanford and Jacksonville State, and that's really a location thing. These kids do have to go to class, and in baseball we play all the time. I try to be respectful. I don't want to be the big bully of, we're the big state school. We're never going to travel during the week. I think it's good for college baseball in our state for us to go to other places so that our fans in different parts of the state get a chance to see Alabama play. So we go to Troy and we go to South Alabama as well. We just don't do it every year just because of the distance, and we try to time that up with spring break or maybe playing in May when the spring semester's over. But I think it's the right thing to do to return the home games when you get the chance to do it, and it makes sense logistically.
How do you approach these games? Now, you got Georgia this weekend. Obviously, they're I think number 14 or so in the country, and a very good team. But how do you approach these midweek games? When in terms of lineup and in terms of pitching.
It can be a real challenge in our sport. You need to win the midweek game every time. If the scoreboard's on, you want to win. But also you want to develop your team and develop your roster. And there are times when maybe relief pitchers pitch twice on the weekend and you're not jacked about running them out there midweek. There are times when maybe you want to get some guys in the lineup that haven't played a lot the last few games. But, like I said, if the scoreboard's on, you want to win. So there's a lot that goes into it. And as coaches, we're always trying to balance the health of our team over, a 56-game schedule along with player development, along with actually winning the game.
Yeah, Brad Bohannon with us here talking about his baseball team, which is surging. Talk to me about some of the guys that are, kind of leading the way as you guys have made this push.
Well, I think it always starts on the mound, and our starting pitching's been very good this year and very consistent. So, I've said a few times the only thing that's been consistent with this team is that they just keep playing regardless of the score. We've been very inconsistent in a lot of parts of our game, but the 3 kids that are starting on the weekend, Garrett McMillan, Jacob McNary, and Grayson Hitt, have all thrown the ball really well. They've done a good job of getting to the middle of the game and us being within reach to win the game. So, that's where it all starts. We got some kids throwing the ball well out of the bullpen. Up and down the lineup, we really don't have that all-star in the middle of the order like a lot of teams. I really feel like when I do the batting order, I could almost just draw names out of a hat. There are a lot of games where we get more production out of 6 through 9 than we do out of 2 through 5, but we do have some balance of left and right. And, Zane Denton is leading us in home runs. I think he's got 11 home runs at third base. I mentioned getting William Hammett back in the lineup. He's one of our better hitters. Drew Williamson, our first baseman, has really come on as of late. He's really swinging the bat. He's up over 300, and that's been a big for us. And Jim Jarvis, our shortstop, has played great defensively, and it's kind of given us a spark at the top of the order. So, I feel like I could talk a long time about a lot of our kids. I'm not sure that we have a superstar, but we've got a lot of very solid contributors, and this team's. I think the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. They love to play, they love to practice, and they love each other, and I think that's become a competitive advantage, the mentality in which they play with.
And you recruit everywhere. I mean, you got players on your roster from all over the place, but you've done a good job in the state of Alabama. Talk about the state of baseball in Alabama. I know in Tennessee, I've lived between Alabama and Tennessee for the last 18 years or so, and this region of the country just has so many great players. But just talk about the state of the high school kid in Alabama, because I know you got a number of our kids, North Alabama kids that are on this team as well.
Yeah, it's really important to us to recruit the state of Alabama. It's a very good baseball state. It seems like in my time recruiting the state, that the northern part of the state, the greater Huntsville area, within an hour or two radius, is kind of the strongest area of the state, which is one of the reasons we're really interested in coming to play up there to continue to have a presence. And, we have Dylan Ray's probably our best relief pitcher, probably has the best stuff of any pitcher on our team. Caden Rose has been a valuable contributor, has started a lot of games at center field, and they're both from Bob Jones High School. Jacob McNary, our Saturday starter on the weekend, is from Athens High School. So, we've got several players from the northern part of the state, and we're certainly thankful for the success that Coach Saban has had on the football field, because Alabama is a true national brand. I feel like we can call any kid anywhere in the country, and their ears are going to perk up when they hear Alabama, because it truly is a national brand. So, I would love for our whole team to be Alabama kids. There's certainly recruiting goes in cycles. There's going to be years where we sign more Alabama kids than others. But I'm very thankful that we can go outside the area, because kids all over the country, they want to be in the Southeastern Conference, and if we get them on campus, we have a chance, because we have a beautiful product to sell to potential student athletes.
Great campus, great stadium, and it's just the whole sports deal. I mean, the softball team is great. You got the basketball team has been surging. Football is always football, and gymnastics, everything. And I would think that all of that, you mentioned national brand, I think all of that helps all the sports, don't you think?
Absolutely. It is really cool. We just had a head coaches meeting today, and we're all friends. We all do everything we can to help each other. And there's some very positive, peer pressure, I know as we were rebuilding our program, there were times when, golly, we're the black sheep of the department right now. We got to catch up with everybody else, and it's a very healthy, positive thing. But yeah, it all starts at the top. We have a tremendous athletic director, Greg Byrne, that is just one of the best in the business, and he does so many things behind the scenes to put all of our programs in a position to be successful. And very thankful for him and everything that he does to put us in a place to compete with the best in the country.
It seems like you all go out of the way to support each other's programs too, though. I mean, we have seen that, time and time again. It just seems to be that it's not like each program is living in a cocoon.
It is so cool. We beat Tennessee on Friday night, and probably half of the head coaches and several administrators, shot me a text. And they also do that at times when it's not going great, because we as coaches, we know that, it's a lot lonelier, when you've lost 4 in a row than it is after you get a big win. So, it's unbelievable how many recruits that Coach Saban meets with, and how accessible football is with taking kids out to practice, and same thing with Nate with basketball. So really thankful for all the friendships of the coaches, and I'm really surprised at how much everyone supports each other.
And finally, Brad Bohannon with us here, Alabama baseball coach. All right, I got to mention it because it happened. Your boy Matt Rita, he gets tossed. I don't know what the heck was going on, but it seemed like there was some. I mean, this guy's been around a minute. He's been around baseball. He knows how bench jockeying goes and so on. But he seemed like he was having a pretty eventful conversation, I guess, with some of the folks on the Tennessee dugout, and ultimately got himself run out of that game. Was that? I know he's a little fiery. Was that in his nature though, to whatever the heck it was that was going on, that he got himself run?
Yeah, it was a very emotional few innings, for everybody in the stadium. And, after a lot of the fireworks and drama early, the crew was, doing everything. The umpire's crew was doing everything they could to, there were bench warnings and this and that. So, I think if Matt had Saturday to do all over, he would, change, some things. I think it's important when we're coaches that we do everything we can to be good models for all the student athletes and the fans. And, it's really fascinating that, somebody thinks that they can spend $5 on a ticket and they have the right to be vulgar and to say things, about people that, if I were to walk into a bank, I can't just yell at the teller, or they're going to call the police on me. But you spend $5 and you get to say things to coaches and players and umpires that aren't allowed in Walmart or in the grocery store. So, college athletics are very intense, especially in the Southeastern Conference. And I'm very thankful that I was a little bit older before I got this opportunity to be the head coach at Alabama. There's certainly a lot of things that I did as a younger coach that I'd like to take back. And, these are a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and I appreciate Matt's passion.
Fans they do feel more emboldened, I think, than ever. I don't know if it's the keyboard warriors, the Twitter generation, or what it is, but they are more emboldened than ever. And it's almost like something you got to coach, right? I mean, you got to coach your kids to not have rabbit ears and everything else like that. It's something that I imagine that you guys spend some time talking about, especially going to some of the places that you guys go to in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk to our kids a lot about it. I think, that's a big part of – I think it's just a hard time in general in society of being a young person. And, there are a lot of perks to being a student athlete, and there also comes, more responsibility. So we absolutely talk to our kids about it. And I think it's important that, that we as coaches are good examples for them, that we conduct ourselves the right way, and that we should try to show a lot of poise and maturity. And I was really, really proud of the way that our kids handled themselves. There was a fight in the stands. There were racial slurs. There were kids yelling profanity into our dugout over the weekend. And our kids did a good job, and I'm really proud of them for that.
Yeah, that's something that's got to be cleaned up, though. The league has to step up and clean that kind of stuff up. You can't go that far. Coach, I appreciate you so much. Good luck tonight. Good luck against Georgia. Anytime Alabama and Georgia get together, it's Alabama and Georgia, right? So good luck over the weekend with the Georgia Bulldogs. They bring a strong program in there, and keep this push going here towards the end of the season.
Awesome, Tom. Thank you, and really hoping that we get to see you guys in the Huntsville area next year.
Yeah, come play up here. We got a beautiful stadium. This Toyota field is great. You got to come up here and play.
We'll do it. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks. Brad Bohannon. Good stuff. All right. So fans are getting a little bit – it's getting a little nuts. Gene Wojciechowski, who covers the NBA, has an interesting take on why fans are getting more emboldened and more nasty. And he kind of goes back to the Kyrie Irving double birds that he flipped off the crowd in Boston. And I'll tell you what Gene Wojciechowski thinks is at the core of bad fan behavior recently in sports. We'll do that next right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialist from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
America First Alabama PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The woke mob is growing. Gas prices are soaring. The liberal cancel culture is trying to take over Washington. There's only one thing that North Alabama can do to fight back. We need to send a Trump-tested warrior to battle back. We need someone with a strong military backbone who will not be intimidated. We need Republican Casey Wardynski. Casey Wardynski has a proven track record of standing up to the liberal mob. President Trump asked Wardynski to serve as his Assistant Secretary of the Army. General Michael Flynn said, "Rarely does our country have the opportunity to elect true patriots like Casey Wardynski. We're all fed up with the liberal direction of America. We cannot afford to let career politicians and their special interest friends grow the swamp. It's time to drain the swamp. Trump-tested Republican Casey Wardynski, the only choice we have for Congress."
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? Two Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
The Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Tuesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Going to be just a touch on the chilly end of the spectrum, especially when you consider the fact that we are getting into the later part of April. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 60s, but under a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures drop into the low 40s as we head into the overnight. A little more cloud cover for your Wednesday, but temperatures are going to begin to climb. Highs hanging out in the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
April means A-Day.
You know, folks, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Alabama is still Alabama.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Between heaven and the tall pine trees.
North Alabama Mortgage. Get you into the proper mortgage product for your refi or your new purchase. They're going to get you through the system as quickly and painlessly as possible. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Talk to North Alabama Mortgage. Brian Hamaker and his team. And they will get you into a conventional or a VA or an FHA or USDA loan in Alabama, Florida, or Tennessee. And they'll help you with a cash-out refinance. They'll help you with a new purchase. They will help you with whatever it is that you need to do. You talk to him. You talk to them. You lay out what I'm trying to do, and they have the vehicle to get you there. That's just the way it is. All right? They treat you like family. They put you in the best loan possible. They're going to do it. They're VA specialists. They work very hard for the veterans as well. It's North Alabama Mortgage. Go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. All right. interesting take by Gene Wojciechowski come off of some of the bad behavior we've seen at NBA games. And let me just say this about that. For those of you that think that this is something new in the world of sports and everything else, Grizz, I've told you this story before, but you're aware that basketball players used to be called cagers. That was like a nickname for basketball players.
Yeah.
Cagers. You've seen that before.
Yes, I know. I've heard of it before, yeah.
Yeah, you've heard that term before. I know back even when I was in high school in the late 70s, our basketball team was referred to as the Cagers, in the headlines of the school paper. The Cagers did this, the Cagers did that. Well, where did that term come from? That term came from early basketball. When basketball first started, the crowds were so rowdy for high school basketball, college basketball, way back, in the 30s and 40s, that they literally had a chain link cage around the court, and the players played inside a chain link cage to keep them separated from the crowd, and they called them cagers. So it's not like, this isn't like the first time the fans have gotten rowdy. But we saw what was going on with Kyrie Irving and the Boston crowd there when he flipped them all off and everything. Gene Wojciechowski of ESPN, he said that the rise of gambling on NBA games and the financial implications some in the arena face is only going to embolden more negative interaction. Quote, there's a different dynamic with Kyrie Irving in Boston, but as gamblers become more prevalent in the arena, people gambling on almost everything that goes on during the game, and they're drinking. Players, organizations, you talk to them, they already feel it in the arena. And when people are losing money in real time, they're pointing to a player on the court that said, hey, I bet you to score more points in the second quarter than somebody else, and I lost. Hey, Trae Young, I had you hitting three-pointers in this game, and you're only 1 of 11.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't bet your daughter's college fund on Trae Young hitting three or more threes.
Yeah, I don't think they matters if they're betting $10. He said, quote,
it's that deep.
You're adding an element to that we're not talking as much about, but it's a real factor in the league. The story at ESPN.com says teams and arenas where sports gambling has been legalized have embraced the opportunity for wagering. Remember, Adam Silver in the NBA led the way with this. They were the first ones to really embrace this whole idea of the sports gambling. And now you've got these in-game gambling things that are going on where people are just gambling as it goes. Some arenas have opened sports books on site in the arena, allowing fans with tickets to place bets before heading to their seat. Woj said, quote, I think you're going to see more instances of fans being even more vitriolic towards players in the league. It's an issue they're going to have to deal with. But I think it comes with the influx of gambling money that everyone's going to profit off of, both players and the league and the BRI. What's BRI? What's BRI? I don't even know what that means. It's going to impact the way the relationship between fans and players are in real time. There's a lot to that. There's a lot to what he is saying. And the other part of it is it's really changed the way of fandom. Because fans are mostly fans of who they bet on. You know what I mean? They're fans of their money. Like, I could tell you right now, one of Steve Merrill's best bets for tonight is the Yankees over the Detroit Tigers, -1.5 runs with Garrett Cole on the bump. If he said Tigers over the Yankees, I can't bet that. I can't say Tigers +1.5 against the Yankees and pull for the Tigers against my team. It's changed the way we look at everything. All right, coming up next, Anthony Dasher is the managing editor of UGAsports.com. We will talk Georgia coming out of their spring game next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision overhead garage door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision overhead garage door service. Call 256-400-4500.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
The Braves are back, and they're on a mission to defend the East, defend the National League pennant, and defend their world title.
Fly ball hit to deep center field, retreating his script at the track, at the wall. She scored!
Tonight, two of the National League's best face off at Dodger Stadium in L.A. as Matt Olson and the Braves face off against the Dodgers. Braves Radio goes on the air at 8:55 Eastern, 7:55 Central on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Following the 76ers Game 2 win over the Raptors in that first-round NBA playoff series, Joel Embiid addressed his brief conversation with Toronto coach Nick Nurse. The Philly big man said he told Nurse he's a great coach, has accomplished a lot, but told him respectfully to stop complaining about calls. Nurse complained about how Embiid was officiated in the series opener. The Sixers have a 2-0 series lead. Tom Brady's love for the game of football is what inspired the 7-time Super Bowl champions' return to the Buccaneers. Brady told ESPN's Tom Van Haren that after he retired in February, he started to get the feeling he should still be playing, knew his body could physically handle another season in the NFL, and thought about going back to Tampa Bay when free agency began last month, which is what he did. Baseball, Angels outfielder Mike Trout bruised hand day to day. His return to the lineup will depend on his pain tolerance.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back, hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment brought to you by the fine folks at Woody Anderson Ford. You know, the service department at Woody Anderson Ford is incredible. I mean, they do a tremendous job. Whether you have a Ford or not, they can get it done for you at Woody Anderson Ford. And, you know, I was in there recently with both our vehicles. We wanted to have them checked out, and it was a couple of things. And certainly we had Brianna and Lindsay help us out, and they got our vehicles, you know, they got us up to snuff in very, very quickly. Very quickly. What we thought were serious things, it turned out to be nothing. But in any event, that service team down there is incredible. The service lanes are incredible when you go down and see it. The new showroom is incredible. The certified pre-owned vehicles are incredible as well. So check it all out at Woody Anderson Ford and Woody Anderson of Madison. Anthony Dasher is also incredible. Does a great job as a managing editor at UGAsports.com. Coming off of Georgia's spring game, Halcyon Times right now. Alabama and Georgia getting together in baseball this weekend as well. And Anthony joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Anthony, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing pretty good.
It's big doings over there. You know, I mean, you got Mike White in there at basketball, so there's hope that the basketball can get competitive. Got a national championship football team. Got a pretty good little baseball team. Came off a loss this week in A&M, but they'll be in Tuscaloosa this weekend. So there's a lot of good things going on at UGA Sports.
There is definitely a lot going on, like you mentioned. I mean, UGA just completed, but you know, football, as you well know, is a year-round sport these days. So there's still plenty to pay attention to when it comes to the Bulldog football program. And yeah, like you said, the baseball team's in Tuscaloosa for a big series with the Crimson Tide. Both teams, you know, playing about the same this year. If you want to, you know, base it off the record. And Coach White is a busy man trying to get some transfers to come in because he's had I think it was like 10 scholarships available after everybody left. So he's got his work cut out.
Yeah, he does his work cut out. It'll take a minute to get that going, but it does not take a minute for Kirby Smart to get this football team going and up to speed. And now comes the battle to keep in that same spot, you know, in that same very, very competitive spot. And there's no reason not to think Georgia will be there. Our Tuesday top 10, by the way, had Georgia at the top of the list. 68,000 people showing up for the spring game. And I know there were a lot of excuses made about why Alabama's was a smaller crowd. And I think it's more complacency amongst the fans than anything else because you didn't have great weather there. And it's Easter weekend in Athens, and 68,000 people showed up, and they had themselves a party and watched a pretty exciting game, albeit a very offensive game.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much, I think, what everybody, you know, expected. You know, as you well know, these spring games are basically just glorified scrimmages. They're held basically just for the fans' enjoyment. So they want to make it as offensive in a good way as the coaches you possibly can. And, you know, it gives fans a chance to check out the early enrollees, some of the new kids they've got in the program. And if you ask, I think, your average Georgia fan, that was the main thing they wanted to see, just see how some of these newcomers are adjusting coming along.
A lot of people were happy with Carson Beck's performance, but make no bones about it, for the first time in Stetson Bennett's career, you know, he's not a guy that's just the guy, the little guy, you know, the fifth-string walk-on guy. He is the guy. Mm-hmm. And I think that Kirby Smart's going to great lengths to make sure everybody knows that Stetson Bennett is their quarterback, and that's the end of that conversation.
Yeah. There was a question in the post-game press conference that Coach Smart wanted to go ahead and name Stetson the starting QB, and, you know, Coach kind of rolled his eyes and like, man, what do you think? Who's going to be the starting quarterback this year? You know, I know a lot was made about Carson, the fact he did have a good game, and, you know, there were some scrimmages, practices this year where Carson and Brock Vanderbilt got reps for the ones. I think that caused some people to think that maybe there was some kind of actual competition going on, but Coach pretty much nipped that in the bud. You know, after what Stetson did, you know, last season, especially in the playoffs, you know, leading Georgia to win over Michigan and Alabama for the national title, there is absolutely no question about who's going to be the starting quarterback for Georgia this upcoming season.
Yeah, and, you know, that question lingered all throughout the season last year that, as soon as JT Daniels was healthy, I questioned it. I'll be honest with you. I came out of SEC media days questioning whether or not JT Daniels had whatever that thing was that you need to kind of lead a program. like Georgia, and Stetson Bennett was so beloved by the coaches and the players, it seemed like, in the room. This was not just about JT's injuries. This was about Stetson Bennett winning this job, no matter if JT Daniels was healthy or not.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, JT Daniels, he re-injured himself again in the Vanderbilt game. Came out after the first quarter, and he did not, basically did not play again after that. But that was not because of, he was hurt that whole time. He was ready to go probably a week following that. But Stetson just took the job and ran with it. And you mentioned respect that he, had with his teammates. Again, this was one of the better stories you've seen in college football over the last few seasons. From a walk-on, everybody knows his story. By now, leading the team to a national championship. Finally, beating Alabama to get over that hump, at least for one season. Stetson just did a great job leading this team last year, and this, was going to be no reason why he wasn't going to get a chance to have similar success this upcoming fall.
Would you agree with the concept or the thought that Carson Beck, though, is the first guy off the bench if needed, that he is edged ahead of Brock Vandagriff?
Yeah, no doubt. This is Carson's third year in the program, and he knows the offense as well as it can be learned right now. Brock, I think, has a great future. He's maybe a little more of a threat with his legs than Carson, but Carson has done a great job. He's a guy who, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he would still be in the program. I thought after last year, with Brock and Gunnar Stockton, coming in Georgia, in Arch Manning, Chase would be gone. Maybe go back to Florida, go back somewhere else to try to play. But he stuck it out, to his credit, to try to not just play but try to win the job, and hats off to him for that. But yeah, he's I think his experience, I think, is something Georgia is going to welcome having, as a backup quarterback, and as what we've saw in the G-Day game. In a way, he's definitely got the capabilities to be a good quarterback.
Anthony Dasher with us from UGAsports.com. It does all change, though, if in fact they do land Arch Manning, right? I mean, if folks in Alabama are thinking that, they're seeing a lot of stories that Alabama maybe has edged ahead in that situation. They also have some good young guys on their roster right now, and other guys that they're recruiting in that 2023 class. But if for whatever reason, Arch Manning decides that he wants to go to Georgia, then it becomes a very jumbled up room. Somebody's got to go at that point in time.
Somebody would go at that point. I think there would be no question about that. And your guess would be as good as mine on who that might would be if Arch decides to come back. But we'll see what happens.
How do you think that Georgia's really close in that race? I mean, do you think it's a 2-team race? Do you think it's a 3-team race with Texas? Because I think he should go to Texas. I think it's best for college football if he goes to Texas and Texas can become a thing. I think overall that would be the best thing for college football, regardless of our rooting interests.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you, and I do think the Longhorns, have a chance. I don't claim to be an expert when it comes to recruiting, and I certainly can't tell you where Arch is leaning or anything, like that. But everything I've seen, everything I've talked to, the times he's been to Athens, he's had a great time. I know the student body is taking it upon themselves to make him feel quite welcome whenever he's coming, and talking to us as his dad. He's always really enjoyed coming to town and meeting with coaches and that kind of thing, which I'm sure is quite similar to what he says about Alabama and Texas and maybe Ole Miss as well. So I think his recruitment's going to be very interesting. I'm really curious to see what he ultimately does.
Anthony Dasher with us here. By the way, the picture of Anthony Dasher that we're using on the video feed of the show is Anthony. I'm going to say that's not in North Georgia. Snow-capped mountains behind Anthony Dasher that look like they're higher than the than the wonderful mountains of North Georgia. But I don't know where that picture was from, but it's someplace out west, I'm going to say.
That is from, you're correct. That's from the ski lift at Grand Targhee in Wyoming, overlooking the Tetons. So
there you go.
One of my favorite places in the world out there. So I've been keeping that one as my picture there for a while.
I love the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I go there every year with my wife on our anniversary, and we spend some time in Ellijay or Blue Ridge and those areas there. But they got no mountains that look like that. I got to
like that. I like the Tetons. That is for sure.
That is for sure. Recruiting last year, one of the big names was one that came out of the transfer portal was Eric Gilbert, and everybody was kind of waiting with bated breath, and Eric ended up not playing at all last year, dealing with some personal issues and so on. But it sure does seem like he's ready to go this year. I mean, the freak that we thought Eric Gilbert could be certainly would be. You add him to the kid they already had there at tight end, Gilbert playing in that slot or that nasty split-type tight end, and you got a couple of big guys that create a real problem. Stetson Bennett could look really good with those two guys in there at the same time.
This tight end room is assuming they all stay, which I'm referring to Darnell Washington. There's been maybe some rumors about him maybe leaving, although right now I don't think he will. It could be one of the scariest I've seen on any team in a long time. And Eric is I pronounce the name correctly, Eric is a very interesting character. He missed last year, personal reasons. Came back in January, and when he came back, he was, believe it or not, he was over 300 pounds. So he had to lose about 25, 30, 40 pounds since he came back to Athens. And right now, I would probably guess he maybe around 255, somewhere in that neighborhood. But he looked pretty good in G-Day. He called a couple of touchdowns from Stetson, and like you said, you throw him in there with a guy like Brock Bowers. Everybody knows what he did last year, and Darnell Washington, who goes 6'7", 260, can run. They've got a true freshman, Oscar Delp, who goes 6'6", 230, and made a good account of himself in G-Day. Got another guy, Brett Seither. There's some weapons there, and I'm sure every night that Stetson Bennett goes to bed, he thanks to the Lord above that he's got the weapons he does at that position right now, because it can be pretty scary.
Of course, on the other side of the ball, they were very dominant last year, but it was, they've lost a lot to the NFL draft. And in the G-Day game, we saw a lot of offense, so everybody gets excited about offense, but it's like, wait a minute, they're doing it against our defense. So there's that part of it. Analyze what's going on with his defense and this new look defensive line.
Well, there's talent, but it's inexperienced talent. I mean, Coach Smart, just like they do at Alabama, they just replaced guys with more 4-star, 5-star players, and Coach Smart has done that. It's just a question now of how quickly will these young kids, get adjusted to having heavier roles. And if they do, then I think Georgia will be fine. But I mean, gosh, you lose guys like Devontae White, Jordan Davis, Trayvon Walker. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It's going to be a challenge, but again, they have recruited quite well over the last few seasons. Biggest question in my mind will be the secondary, where they've got 3 guys they've got to really find some replacement for. I'm not really sure if those guys are even on campus yet. They've got some other true freshman corners coming in later on in May that I think will have a chance to play early. But they've got talent. It's just young talent, and we'll have to see how quickly they adjust life in the SEC.
Yeah, that was the deal last year, is that if you could keep the front seven off of your quarterback, you could take a little bit of advantage of that secondary. And so now, they got to get this secondary right, and maybe there will be a more balanced defense across the board. As you said, losing a lot of players. Leadership, though, I mean, when you've got Stetson Bennett there, and he's like a, I don't know, 8th-year player in college football now. It seems like he's been around forever, but
he has.
he has, because he is, right. But what about leadership? Finding that leadership. I know that was something that Alabama struggled with throughout the season last year. What about finding leadership on this team to keep them at the top?
This was something, that Coach Smart was quite concerned about, I think, going into spring. And I believe it was after the first scrimmage. They came back the next Tuesday and just had a horrible practice. I mean, guys were just going through the motions. They like they didn't care. But that's when, Coach Smart told us after G-Day the other day, on Saturday, rather, that guys started stepping up. And, guys like, Kyrus Jackson, Nolan Smith, Cedric Van Pran at center, a couple other guys really kind of, stepped up. Stetson Bennett stepped up and really said, kind of grabbed everybody else by the short hairs and say, look, if y'all want to get back the way y'all were last year, we've got to start doing things the right way. And since then, Coach Smart has said he's been quite pleased, actually, with the, way his team has responded. And pleased is not a word that comes out of Kirby Smart's mouth very often, much less in the springtime. So for him to be saying that now, I think Georgia fans should feel pretty good about that aspect. But there's no question, though, you lose the not just the leadership, but the talent, level they did last year. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. But he does feel good about the way they have responded so far.
when Kirby was with Nick Saban, he was up close and personal with Saban, would bristle at this whole issue of repeating, that this isn't pro sports. This is a whole different team. And, don't use the word repeat. Is Kirby kind of carrying that mantle? I mean, I know they got their rings now, but is he like, okay, put the rings away. That's not your championship. That's last year's team's championship. And there is no such thing as repeating really in college football. It's a whole new team to go out and try and win.
Yeah, that's last year. They put that in the rearview mirror. I think, it was probably maybe the day after they got back from Indianapolis. They really have. I mean, even you talk to some of the players about that. We first got to see them, back in I guess early March was the next time we got to speak to some guys, and to a man, they all talked about how they've already put last year in the rearview mirror. At least that's what they're telling us. We'll see what happens, once the season gets underway and all that kind of thing. But they seem to be taking the right approach to that, and they know nothing at all is going to be given to them. Nobody's going to. I mean, Georgia will be everybody's big game this year. Everybody's going to want to knock off the national champion, and they know they're going to have to be ready for that. Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, as always, I appreciate you. Great stuff. You do a tremendous job at UGAsports.com covering the Dogs, and we're looking forward to this weekend. I mean, we can look forward to next fall, but we're looking forward to this weekend. Georgia baseball, Alabama baseball ought to be a great series, and both of those teams are tournament teams, in my opinion. So it'll be great to see these teams going at it. Yes, sir, no doubt about it. Georgia does get Jonathan Cannon back, who has missed the last couple of games with some tightness in the back of his forearm. But Johnson, before his injury, was 6-1. I think his ERA was like 1.71. It was really looking like one of the top starters in the SEC. Now, he's going to start this week. I'm not sure it's going to be Friday or Saturday, but that's going to be a big boost for Georgia to get him back. Anthony Dasher, UGA Sports. Thanks, Anthony. Yes, sir. See you, Tom. It's great stuff. Speaking of spring ball, you know how you know what's on the line, obviously, with Alabama when they have their spring game. You know what I mean? It's always about the beans.
Under no circumstances will I be eating beans on Monday. Yeah. Yeah, Nick Saban's not eating the beans. But he also put the kibosh on any of the guys from the white team, the winning team, from sharing dessert with guys on the losing team, the Crimson team. I don't know if you saw that video, Grizz. But
I saw it. That was great.
See that? I mean,
that was great.
Saban just shut it down, man.
No.
Dallas Turner, he tried to pass some chocolate cake from the white team to Malachi Moore and Cam Latu from the Crimson team. And, Saban put the kibosh on it. Franks and beans, that's it, baby. White bread, Franks and beans. You don't get no cake if you're an 8-day loser. And Saban was sitting with the losers, but he was not eating the beans.
Under no circumstances will I be eating beans on Monday.
No. He had steak. He was not eating with the losers. He had the steak, but he did shut down the chocolate cake. Let's get a break. When we come back, phone lines go open the rest of the way. You want to jump in on any topics from the USFL to spring ball, to the NBA playoffs. I'll let Grizz talk to you about that. To anything you want to get into. Some NFL news that I have here. You want to jump in, you can do it. 256-576-4977. Open lines the rest of the show. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Braves and Dodgers game 2 tonight. Atlanta plus 135 money line. LA minus 165. The over-under at 8. Max Fried getting the start for the Braves against Walker Buehler. NBA, the East first round continues with the Hawks at the Heat tonight. Atlanta a 7-point underdog. The over-under 219. In the West, the Timberwolves and Grizzlies with Memphis a 7-point favorite. favorite in Game 2, the over-under at 241, and the Pelicans a 9.5-point road underdog in Game 2 against the Suns, 221.5 the set total. The PGA Tour in New Orleans this week for the Zurich Classic. The team of Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa, the co-favorites, along with Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele, both teams at plus 800. Mark Leishman and Cameron Smith at plus 900.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
The Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Tuesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Going to be just a touch on the chilly end of the spectrum, especially when you consider the fact that we are getting into the later part of April. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 60s, but under a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures drop into the low 40s as we head into the overnight. A little more cloud cover for your Wednesday, but temperatures are going to begin to climb. Highs hanging out in the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chop. Set!
Let's go. Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond.
Ding. Me.
Listen for Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center. For all your orthopedic needs, it's the Orthopedic Center. I'll take care of you. It doesn't matter how you got hurt, whatever it is that happened to you, it's the Orthopedic Center. They will get you right. The Orthopedic Center. Over 20 years in Valley taking care of folks. I mean, that's a long time. And they got the docs. They got specialists in every different kind of thing that you need. They can take care of you. Orthopedic Center. All right. Phone lines are open, and we're going to go open lines now for the rest of the show. So if you want to jump in, you can do it right now. 256-576-4977. Grizz coming up this weekend. It is the Caston and Ketchen tournament to benefit the Children's Hospital of Alabama. Folks can still get involved in that if they want to fish in that tournament. I'll be fishing in that event. I'll be emceeing the weigh-in as well. And you know, that'll be good. I'll be emceeing that along with former Bassmaster Classic champion Randy Howell. Will be down there with me, emceeing the weigh-ins on Saturday. Going to do the show from there on Friday. It's the official practice day. I won't be able to practice until in the afternoon because
can't do it live from the boat.
I'm
can't do the show live from the boat.
You know what? I can do the show live from the boat, though. You know, that's the thing. The boat has power. I mean, I'm going to do it probably on the land.
You might drain the boat, though. You might be stuck out in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, that's true. I might drain the battery.
Just do it on the sides so that doesn't happen.
Remember,
have an extension cord coming.
I did the show sitting in the boat.
I know, but we got to do it in the water, though. We got to do it legitimately in the water.
I wonder if I splashed the boat. If I did the show from the water. Well, what if I got, I could get electrocuted or something?
Long extension cord.
Yeah. Well, no,
I don't need it. And be on the side of the, on the edge or something.
Unless I plug it into the boat.
Yeah. So I'm saying you might drain the boat if you plug it into the boat.
Listen, I need to get the tent today. The tent makes its debut. The TOC Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone tent makes its debut this weekend.
Is John taking it out there?
I hope so.
I guess we'll find out today.
We need to get it in the truck. Don't let me forget at the meeting, okay? When we
I'll
have
throw
our
it in the
staff
back of
meeting
your truck when you get here.
No, we'll have John do it. He's the intern. We'll have John the intern.
I'll at least get it out of the closet.
To figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do that.
That should be fun
tomorrow. So we'll have to get that.
Make sure everybody's out of the office that day.
How annoyed were you?
A one from Enoa. Lifted to deep left center field, sprinting back, and a hurry is Duvall. That is gone. That was annoying.
Very.
How bad was that? Was that? How annoying was that?
Very, because it was so cliche though too. It was just really, Freddie's back. You know, first at bat, boom. And
First at bat, second pitch.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Second pitch he saw.
Gone.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
But I mean, he can hit the ball, man. This is why he's one of the best first basemen in the major league. So
Kyler Murray is not going to attend the Cardinals off-season workout program, voluntary off-season workouts. Kyler Murray. He plans not to. Then he's going to train on his own, is what he says, and he told the Cardinals that. Aaron Rodgers is not training with his team. Ryan Tannehill is not attending the off-season workouts as well. I got to be honest with you. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I mean, think about this for a moment. You're making an ungodly amount of money to play in the NFL, something that you do until you're 35, 36, 37 years old, maybe, if you're lucky. If you're not a quarterback, something you do until you're 32 or 33 years old, maybe, if you're lucky. Okay? So you're getting paid all of this money. Your football season on a mandatory basis, runs from a mandatory camp 3 days in June, and then camp opens in July, and you go July, really late July. You go August, September, October, November, December. If you're lucky, you play a couple of games in January. August, September, October, November, December, and maybe into January. That's 6 months. You have a 6-month job. And you can't go to the place where you play and go through the voluntary workouts? Oh, they're voluntary. Yeah, I know they're voluntary. You can't go be with your team and work out with your team during these workouts?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense. This is all you got. You're going to do this job for 10 years. You're making millions of dollars a year. What the hell else are you doing? Well, I live in L.A. I don't live in Nashville. I live in Florida. I live in Miami. That's where your job is. Go do your job. I don't get it, Chris. Why do these players not go to where their teams are and work out with their, especially quarterbacks? You're the leader of the pack.
Yeah. And especially with new wide receivers, you got to set that. You got to be on the same page.
Leadership. Leadership. I just don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. Now, Deshaun Watson has reported for off-season voluntary workouts in Cleveland because he hasn't, worked out in a long time. He has reported for workouts and is in the Browns building. Whether or not he'll be able to play right off the bat. Now they're saying there's going to be no trials until 2023. So what's going to happen now in 2022? Is this guy going to be able to play or not? You cannot bet on the Browns in an over-under win total or anything like that right now because we just don't know. So, but he's going to be over there working out. Now, how wild would it be if Baker Mayfield showed up? How crazy would that be if Baker Mayfield showed up? He's on the roster. Why wouldn't he just show up, work out,
beat for the job,
take reps? That'd be fantastic.
That'd just be the ultimate petty
Baker thing to do.
The ultimate petty thing to do. Like seriously though.
Oh, would it be petty or would it be? Look,
or would it be
I'm on
ultimate?
Team.
Yeah.
I'm on a team, and somehow the Cleveland Browns are spending money like a drunken sailor, and they're still being investigated for claims that Hugh Jackson made regarding the team tanking, he said, when he was the head coach. This dude will not take any responsibility for the 0-16 and 1-15 seasons that he had. They brought him back. He was 2-5-1. They fired him. Greg Williams, who didn't even get interviewed for the job, Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, immediately went 5-3 with the same exact roster that Hugh Jackson was 2-5-1. Well, if they were tanking, why was Greg Williams going 5-3? Even if they tanked the other 2 years, why couldn't Hugh Jackson win a game? Cleveland just made Denzel Ward the highest-paid cornerback in the history of the NFL.
Just paying guys.
It's $300 million tied up in Denzel Ward and Deshaun Watson right now. Let me go to the lines. Brandon, who was unable to stream the last 20 minutes of the show yesterday, is up. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm back on Zone 1 today. It went to Zone 3 yesterday. I was waiting on some kind of show to come on there. I thought y'all were switching over, and I don't know what happened, but good that you're back. My first thought was, is Tom all right? I didn't know what happened to you.
No, you know what? I had yesterday, after the show, I had a heart checkup and on my device, on my defibrillator / pacemaker that is supposed to last 8 years, depending on how much you use it. I use it very little. And the doctor said to me, my doctor, Dr. Vinny Bumatz, the doctor said to me, they checked the device, they squeezed my heart a little bit, and with it, and he said that your heart beats on its own 98.5% of the time. 98.5% of the time, my heart is beating. Thank you, heart. It's a good job by you, heart. So I'm like, what happens on the other 1.5% of the time? And they go, well, that thing helps. It helps your heartbeat. And then he said something about left ventricle, right ventricle squeezing, the amount of blood going through. I'm paying attention. I'm like, all right, I got to go back to work. The bottom line is they gave me a good update. They told me that my battery would last 1.8 to 4.3 years. I have either 1.8 to 4.3 years left. I'm like, can you narrow it down a little more than that?
Well, it'd be nice if they would tell you what time that 2% is, because I'm pretty sure it's probably in that 2-hour window of your show.
1.5%. 1.5% is all when the heart doesn't. I think it might have something to do with when I'm, with the JYB, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I think at that point in time, I need a little boost. I need the heart to work a little hard. Yeah, I need a little extra heart. No? Can't go there,
Dump.
No.
Dump. We're just dumping this whole segment right here.
I thought it might be the Cleveland Browns causing you that.
Yeah, the Browns. That's what it is. It's the Browns.
But earlier you were saying something, and every time somebody says what you said, I know you're just repeating it, it makes me want to throw something. Stetson Bennett did not lead the Georgia Bulldogs to a national championship. That defense weekend at Bernie's him through the entire regular season. He was throwing touchdown passes and handing the ball off to defenses that had been on the field pretty much the entire game and was taking advantage of tired defenses. I don't know that anybody else couldn't have went in there on that roster they had and done the exact same thing he did. I know they love him, but against Alabama's full roster, you saw what happened to him. They made him look pedestrian and stupid.
Yeah, and that was the only time all year that anybody could do that to him. But I think that there is a leadership quality there with him. I do think that the team rallies behind him. I think they do love him. I would hate to have the whole thing be on his shoulders. But I'll tell you what, with Brock Bowers and Eric Gilbert, those two tight ends, if that line can give him the time, those guys are a mismatch nightmare, absolute nightmare. So it's going to be, and they're going to, who's going to stop them right now until they get to the SEC championship game? Who is really going to put the stopper on that team?
Well, I don't know necessarily that you would stop them. You've just got to figure out a way to outscore them. And with Eric Gilbert, who's going to stop him? That would probably be himself. I mean, he basically got in Kirby Smart's face last year and cussed him like a dog and done a couple other things that were unbecoming, and that's why he never came back and played last year.
Well, I think he also had – I think he had some issues. I think he's
got a lot of issues.
Yeah, he had some personal issues, but it seems to be that they're all holding hands and singing Kumbaya now. So I don't think I think he's going to be all right. I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be all right that way.
I got a friend I grew up with, Rosemont Park, Rusty Mansell of 24/7 Sports, and he's a big dog guy. And he and I had some conversations about Eric Gilbert and some of the stuff that's not being said out loud, and the dude's got major problems.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if he can make the entire season with the problems that he has.
Well, we'll see. He's a 20-year-old kid. But when you look at them, they open with Oregon on September 3rd at home. So I think they're all right there. So they'll get Oregon. Then they've got Samford, South Carolina at South Carolina. I suppose there's always a risk of an upset, but they're a double-digit favorite in that game. Kent State at home. Missouri at Missouri. They'll be a double-digit favorite in that game. They get Auburn at home. So I guess, Auburn can be problematic at times, but they got Auburn at home. They're going to be a double-digit favorite, probably 11 or 12-point favorite there. Vanderbilt, the cocktail party. With Florida, putting a new system in and everything. I don't know. It's still a cocktail party. Tennessee, let's see if Tennessee is real. I think Tennessee's like 7-5 again. You know what I mean? I predicted them to be 7-5 last year, and they wanted to throw them a parade. I think they're 7-5 again. Mississippi State in their crossover is Mississippi State at Mississippi State. and then Kentucky and Georgia. I mean, they've got Georgia Tech. I mean, they've got basically 3 rather contentious games, but is there a game on this schedule that they're not a double-digit favorite? The Florida game? Maybe they're a 6 or 7 or 8-point favorite in the Florida game, depending on how Florida's playing at that time. Is there a game on this schedule that they're not a double-digit favorite? I don't know that there is.
I agree with you there. I just don't think the teams in the East right now that there's anybody to challenge them. You're not going to have some of those surprise players pop up like Dan had the year that he beat them. You don't have the greatest tight ends we've seen in a long time. Don't get me wrong. I think Brock Bowers is a great tight end, but the guy that went to the Falcons, his name escapes me at the moment. He's something else.
I mean, their crossovers are, they always got Auburn, and again, Auburn can be problematic. They get Tennessee, and they get Mississippi State. So, I mean, Tennessee is in the East, obviously. Their crossovers are Mississippi State and Auburn. I think of Tennessee,
And you were talking about the spring games. My daughter had a local beauty pageant contest that Rusty Mansell's daughter was also in for the high schools here. But there's a lot of proms last week and this week, and then we had Easter. And I would have absolutely been at the Alabama spring game. Would have took the camper to Lake Lurleen, probably took a bunch of people with me. But when it comes to Easter weekend, my wife, most of the time she gets mad. I say whatever. But on Easter weekend, that's one wrath that I do not want to deal with, is her being mad because we're not doing family stuff together. And if that game had been last week, I would have gone and probably took 8 people with me.
Yeah, but you're unusual. But you're unusual in that you're traveling to it. The question is, where were the people that live within an hour of the stadium? Where are all of those Birmingham people? Where are all those people that are Alabama fans in the state that could have easily driven to that game and then left that game and then been home? I mean, the game was over fast. They could have been home by 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock on Saturday night. Not the guy that comes from Georgia or the guy that comes from Kentucky or the guy that comes from Florida to see the Tide play. Where were the people that have a chance to see them play there? And I think there's a certain amount of fatigue. I just do. I think that the fatigue is in spring game fatigue, not in passion for the program. Nick Saban said we'll show everybody, how much passion and desire we have. No, that doesn't show a lack of passion and desire. It's just the reality is you're thinking about 3 or 4 games during the regular season, the SEC championship game, and the playoffs. That's where your passion is. Sorry.
I don't disagree with you there as far as the passion and the games. I just think that when it's going to be bad weather and you've seen all the bad storms that we've seen over the past couple of weeks, tornadoes and stuff, that if that game is played on a non-Easter weekend on a pretty day, you see a lot more people than what was there.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They're predominantly charging to get in it now, where it used to be 100% free, correct?
No, it was free. It was free.
It was free, okay. I
Yeah.
see some people advertising South End Zone packages for money and food, and I didn't know if they were charging for general admission to get in or not.
No, not ticket to get into the game. Auburn charged, I think, $5 or $10 to get into their game, but and they had 29,000. They only had 2,000 less than Alabama.
Well, fun stuff. Let's tell them when they change that battery out for you next time that you want a lithium. That way it'll last 10 to 12
Oh, that's a
years,
good idea.
bigger.
Maybe it is a lithium battery. I don't know if it's an Energizer, the Energizer Buddy, or what the deal is there. Thanks for the call, Brandon. I appreciate it. Kramer says, is the losers not getting cake going to hurt recruiting with the people that feel all the kids need a ring or a trophy? Well, they would all get a ring, when they win something, whether they win the –
I think Malachi Moore was playing defense on Leary, and I don't think he deserves that cake after that. Because he got beaten.
That was a great play by Leary. I don't think that Malachi Moore was in – you know what? He wasn't in terrible position. I think
he
Leary
deserved that
did a
cake.
great job going and getting that ball.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he should deserve that cake if he had jumped up and maybe intercepted that ball.
Well,
made
yeah.
a play. He would have got that cake. That's the message. See, that's a Saban message.
Or,
he should have played better.
Or the whole defense needed to play better. Or the offense could have done something. I mean, I would be upset, with the offense. That Crimson offense could have won that game 28-25. They didn't have to lose. They didn't have to get, that's at first defense. Malachi Moore's he's like a first teamer anyway. But, hey, no cake, baby. Arizona Jay is next. Arizona Jay, welcome to the show. How are you?
Man, I would have went to that 8-day game, but like I said, you looked up at the sky. It was like, I was in Birmingham, but I looked up. I was like, I'm not driving out there just to get dumped on. I'm an Auburn fan anyways, but.
Didn't you go to the? You went to the Stallions game, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to the Stallions game.
Nice.
Definitely went to the Stallions game.
What was that atmosphere like?
I don't care what. Okay, like this weekend is basically. It's kind of changed my view on like sitting up at home, watching everything, getting your opinion off the talking heads after the game at your house. Like, dude, get your butt up and get out to the games because, I mean, just like how they were reporting, there was only 17,000 people there. That was a bunch of BS. And I got camera footage, and I think I sent you the drone that was flying around on the field.
Yeah.
But that's a bunch of BS. It was at least like 25,000, 30,000 people there. And,
well, the stadium holds 40. It holds 40. I think there were 25 there. But, again, the kids were free. So, maybe it was because of that. Maybe, they weren't counting heads. They were counting tickets or something.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, the whole thing is, I know there was, TV crews there and everything. If you had people there, don't report something like, well, it was only 17,000 people, and you were there to see with your own two eyes, and, like, this is way more than 17,000 people. And if you said that stadium holds 40,000, that stadium, they had to open up the upper deck. They weren't going to open up the upper deck, but they opened it up. So, why would you report something like that? But it's you know what? If you didn't show up to the game and you're getting your opinion off of what, the news talking heads tell you and everything, that's kind of your fault and you're missing out because the atmosphere was great. It was a party atmosphere and a football atmosphere, and the people were already into their team. They already had a culture going. It was a lot of Bama culture, but, I mean, it was just still a good vibe. I mean, the alcohol sales were good. Everybody's complaining about concessions, but everybody had a drink in their hand, so I don't know what. Maybe they were complaining about not getting a cheeseburger on time, but they're getting the alcoholic beverage on time, believe me.
Well, yeah, and it's just going to be – the deal is it's just really going to be for the Birmingham games if there's going to be any – that's why they got to get these teams out to their cities because nobody's going to go to the other games. They're only going to go to the Birmingham games because it's Birmingham. You know what I mean? And there'll be a big crowd there, next Saturday night when Birmingham and the Houston Gamblers play, and there'll be a crowd. But there will not be any crowd at 11 o'clock for the Maulers and the Stars. It's not going to happen. The thing is, too, is in terms of the football itself, I thought it was a good football game. I thought it was enjoyable. There weren't a lot of penalties. And you can't really have an opinion about, it is or whatever, watch anything. So, watch it first before you have an opinion.
Well, that's what I was talking about by not showing up because, I'm arguing with somebody on Twitter talking about nobody gives a F about that. It's not good football. And it was like, dude, were you there? And then on top of that, you're getting your –
or watch it on TV. Or at least watch it on TV. And all I know is more people watched that game throughout the – and watched the Yankees and the Red Sox opened Major League Baseball on ESPN a week before and had a smaller audience, had 2.5 million people, and this had over 3 million people. I mean, come on.
It had 3.5 million.
At the peak, but averaged 3 million. Now, I don't know what it did. I don't know what it did last night. I don't know what it did Sunday afternoon. It was Easter Sunday, and those games weren't necessarily as compelling. But it's tough to watch when there's no crowd. I will say that. I mean, it's like pandemic football. When there's no crowd, it's really tough to watch. It doesn't give it any atmosphere. But I'll watch every Birmingham Stallion game, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, like I said, the main thing is to get people in the stands, and the way they fix that, I know that like in 3 years they're gonna like go back to their own home cities and everything. But how they fix that is keep that party atmosphere that they got going there, because like I said, it was a lot of people running around, grown adults having fun. I mean, they weren't out of hand or anything like that. Kids were there. The kids were the kids were going crazy. I was walking around filming. They really thought I was a part of the camera crew. But it was just, everybody was just really enthusiastic about it. Then you have Top Golf right across the street. So, like, you can go over there to Top Golf, hit a few balls, and then come over to the game and everything. But everything that everybody was complaining about was minute. And to go back to, the fans were all, it's not a good product, but it's like, okay, first of all, you probably didn't even watch it on TV, and you waited for the people to come on TV to tell you how it was, and they weren't even there themselves. And then you got a bad, misconception about how many people that were there. The place was packed. The really cool thing is always a jetliner flying over, like, every 15 minutes. while you're watching the game. So you know the people in the airplane is looking down like, whoa, what's going on down there? And then you got eateries right across the street.
That uptown area.
Really fine eateries right across the street.
Yeah, I got to get to the break, Jay. I appreciate it, man. That's a good job by you. That uptown area is really cool. That area,
it's a nice little area, and it's a nice
really
little
cool
setup for like a pregame and where you can kind of tailgate.
All right, let's get a break in here. We'll come back and wrap it up next. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Find your rhythm, feed your rhythm at Rhythm on Monroe. Not just a great restaurant and rooftop bar, but the perfect spot to relax and take in a beautiful scenic downtown sunset on the rooftop or patio. Enjoy Chef Becky Vibbert's fresh and delicious fan favorites like braised beef short rib sliders, seasonally inspired fresh salmon dishes, crispy Brussels sprouts, and fresh baked peach walnut cobbler or chocolate chess pie. Open daily at 4 p.m. with brunch from 11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday on the corner of Clinton and Monroe in the Von Braun Center. Follow Rhythm on Monroe on Facebook.
Paid for by Friends of Francis Taylor, P.O. Box 12122, Huntsville, Alabama 35815.
There is only one conservative choice for House District 20.
That choice? Republican Francis Taylor.
Francis Taylor is a proven Republican.
Francis Taylor is a former president of the Alabama Federation of Republican Women.
And a former vice president of the National Federation of Republican Women.
Francis Taylor is a fiscal conservative who opposes tax increases on our hardworking families.
She will fight to repeal Common Core and to ensure that our elections are safe and secure.
And Francis Taylor is not a puppet of liberal Montgomery special interests.
In fact, she will stand up to the Montgomery political bosses.
Francis Taylor stood with President Trump and wrote several columns endorsing him for president in 2016.
House District 20 needs someone who stood with President Trump. We don't need a never-Trumper.
Republican Francis Taylor, proven Republican conservative, not a puppet of special interests.
There is only one choice for House District 20, Republican Francis Taylor.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com. Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Local sports is covered right here.
Well, appreciate what you guys do for sports, but also for high school sports and taking time to talk to us. That means a lot, and appreciate what you guys do and appreciate you having us on.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Final segment of the show. We'll see where we're going tomorrow. We'll be talking some country hardball tomorrow. All right, we got time to slip you in maybe here, maybe not. If you want to jump in quick, you can do that at 97.7. A lot of good stuff to pay attention to tonight, though. You got the Braves and the Dodgers. We'll have that game later on live here on our air and on our primary stream. Now, we if you're just a sports fan, you've got basketball, you've got hockey, you got the NBA playoffs. Hockey is not in the playoffs yet. And then you've got all your other baseball teams. I'll be watching the Yankees and the Tigers because I am a Yankee fan. So, that's why I'm watching that game. Grizz is watching the Heat. I watch the Heat. I'll watch the Heat and the Hawks, too. Because all I got to do is get a split. You know what I mean? Just get a split and put a little bit of concern on the Heat. If they can get a split, if they can cover up the kid coming off the bench and he doesn't have 30 points again or whatever, just try and get a split and get out of that thing whole and then see what happens. That's all you got to do.
Shouldn't be too hard. Shouldn't be too hard.
Well, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I don't know what the line is on it, but it's going to be hard. They're definitely the underdog there. So, we'll see whether or not they can get that thing done. But tomorrow we'll be into some baseball as well. We'll have Josh Carey with us. We'll do a little Carey's Corner with him. I had reached out to Zach Kallman from the USFL newsroom. He was covered up today. Couldn't jump in today. Maybe he jumps in tomorrow and get his take on what went on with that. All I would say is take a look. That's all. Just take a look.
Yeah.
But if you can only watch one, just watch Birmingham because it is a difficult watch. And Kramer's got a good idea, bring in some high school bands for those other games. That's always great atmosphere. Hear the band or some college bands or whatever.
I mean, just do the kids free, but also do like the Little League night. Bring teams in. Bring more and more teams in. Local teams around the area.
There's just not much you're going to be able to do. And it's not going to be 3 years. It's got to be next year to get these teams out there. They're already talking about having a home for Pittsburgh and Michigan and Houston next year. They need to get it done sooner than later. All right, today is in the hopper. Coming up next, Chuck Oliver, Paul Feinbaum, The Drive, Braves and Dodgers. Pretty good lineup for you. It's all right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.